Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Behind the Bookbind. My name is phoenixrokni, author of The Fall of Magic, my debut novel, and first chapter in the Masterscore series. Today, we're going to be talking about Drazius Korvek, our antagonist in The Fall of Magic. The heroes of the story are in part shaped by the encroaching darkness, the gloom looming on the horizon. And for them, the greatest threat is going to come from the Dark Prince Drazius. As the primary antagonist in the story, he is the person who is leading a dark crusade towards the elven city of Valentreas. And along the way, there is obviously a lot of destruction left in his wake. But there's something much darker than that at play. And to his enemies, he is a ruthless force of destruction. To the Dark Master, he's a very simple pawn being moved across a chessboard. But beneath the cruelty of his character and the cunning lies a very dark secret, one that will shatter everything the people of Auro think that they know about him. So, who is Drazius? Who is he really? He was born into power, into royalty. He was someone deeply eager to prove himself to his father and to the kingdom of Calandro, the realm that he and his father and his bloodline have safeguarded and led for countless generations. It's not his command over this new dark power he's come to carry that is the only thing that makes him a dangerous foe. It's his mind. It's the way he stays so far ahead of everyone else while carrying a secret known only to those left in his wake. This is truly what makes him the most terrifying foe in this book. In the story, Drazius isn't simply there to be just someone who opposes our main character. His goals are far more depraved than anyone suspects. Every move he makes is part of a very long game. It's one that began generations before our current conflict, one that's guided by the Dark Master Auro, who most people in the world now refer to as Merida. When I first imagined Drazius, I didn't want someone or a villain who was evil for the sake of being evil. I wanted someone whose motives made sense to his role in the greater story, and someone who truly believes, by way of his corrupted state, that he's the only one who's willing to do what's necessary to save the world, even if that salvation demands blood and the sacrifice of countless souls. His character grew from the idea that the greatest threats often come from those who think that they're the hero of their own story. But what's darkest about him is that his soul has been captured and reformed due to a power he wields and has no actual control over. He's a player in this story that is truly tragic, and the loss left in his wake will have an impact on the world in a way that no one could possibly have been prepared for. From the moment he leaps onto the page, Drazius commands attention. His presence forces other characters to make choices that they might otherwise avoid. He doesn't just act needlessly, he breaks people's spirits, exploiting their fears and doubts until they feel alone and unprotected by the gods. Yet, there are moments when his mask slips, a hidden hesitation, a flash of regret, and those moments are rare, but they are a hint at a past story, a hidden torment, which he is completely helpless to show and desperately wants to share. And that is something that is his greatest pain, his suffering, his sorrow. Now, Drazius's dynamic with Anarian is one of my favorite parts of the book. She's one of the few people who remembers the person he once was. And that's something she recognizes he's not only never going to be again, but no longer exists. Ultimately, she won't treat him like the person she once knew. In fact, once she recognizes this brand that he carries, this corruption he embodies, she ceases to see him as who he once was. And to me, that's an early indicator in the very beginning of the story that sets the tone for what is at play. One day she'll truly be able to understand what's happened to him, like truly what's happened to him, but not yet. For our protagonist, aka Voliere, aka, well, if you read the book, you're going to understand what that actually means. Drazius pushes our protagonist, Voliere, aka, harder than anyone else. In many ways, he forges his path by forcing him into a situation that inevitably leads him to act. Without Drazius, the person he might become may not exist. The Dark Prince is the catalyzing spark and resolution to a problem for Voliere. In the end, it's his actions that result in a deeply catastrophic event that will lead to a truly dark age. So here's a secret. Drazius' true origin isn't fully revealed in The Fall of Magic. Even by the end of the book, readers will have that understanding of his origin. But to the heroes, that is a secret only we get to know. His deepest motives are rooted in the Fade. The corruption he carries, a plague of the mind that is about to evolve into something more dangerous than the world could possibly conceive of. In fact, some of the actions in the book are less about winning battles and about setting a stage for something far greater in the next installments. So, in closing, I ask, is Drazius truly a villain? Is he simply a pawn, a puppet whose strings have been pulled because now he is shackled to the will of the darkness? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What do you think Drazius' history really indicates for the world and for its future? I'd like to encourage all of you to join our community Discord. I'd love to hear your thoughts. In the next episode of Behind the Bookbind, we'll discuss another important figure in the Fall of Magic, one whose role in the conflict heralds a message from the divine and leads our main character to discover a dark secret, one that, when learned, changes everything while sparking a new beginning. Take care, and as always, may the light guide you. See you soon.